your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Hey guys, Wicked Boston Show, Rogue Media Sports Network, efforting to try and get the videos that I downloaded because my laptop's a piece of shit, but you guys don't care about that. You guys don't care about that. It is 365 Sports, your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, the only show that is by the fan, for the fan. And boy, has it gotten crazy in the NFL this week, as it always does this time of year. And I can't even get back to my screen here. This is actually unbelievable. I could still be on the air. I have no idea because my laptop doesn't work. Anyway, crazy week in the world of free agency here in the NFL. All kinds of questions now with this Maxx Crosby deal out the door. Ravens have already signed their replacement for him. It's crazy stuff. So what we're going to have is we're going to have Mike Debate, our Patriots expert, joining us in just a few minutes here, if we are still on the air, to talk about the Romeo Doubs contract situation, him getting signed by the Patriots. Yeah, and I appreciate my producer, Zach, is telling me we are on the air. So I've got the downloads thing in front of me, and I can't get away from it, so I can't see anything. So that's why I'm really confused here, and I don't know if I'm gonna have to restart my computer, but that obviously isn't really what we want to do here. So Mike Debate is going to join, talk about Romeo Doubs, what he brings to the Patriots, whether that AJ Brown trade is still on the table for New England with this whole wide receiver situation, and I would love to pick his brain about Maxx Crosby, how the league is dealing with it, and if the Patriots can get in on this action. You know, it's not going to cost 2 first-round picks anymore to get Maxx Crosby. Whether you believe this is a serious injury, that the Ravens didn't take the report seriously, or whatever. I would love to talk about the Bruins today because that was an electrifying win last night. I would, but there's so much going on because later I got to talk World Baseball Classic, which I never thought I was going to talk about on this show, but somehow on a night where the biggest trade of the NFL offseason gets reversed, and a night where someone scores 83 points in the NBA, a guy who's not even a top 30 player in the league scores 83 points in a single game, somehow Mark DeRosa and USA Baseball and the World Baseball Classic is the weirdest sports story of the day. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart. But let's actually start and get into the show, shall we? Bummer last night for the Celtics. Celtics go into San Antonio, huge game, top 2 teams in the league. You get Tatum back. It's right before you face Oklahoma City. So that's a huge game as well. And we should be talking about that. 2 great teams. Tatum back. Wembanyama going off. How about that night for Wemby? 39 points. And instead, what we're talking about is the absolute meltdown that Jaylen Brown had in the second quarter and got ejected from the game. And the game's not the same after that. And all kinds of opinions are flying around the internet on this one. And honestly, all kinds of opinions were flying around my head on this one. I'm probably going to get sued, but I'm going to show you the video anyway. Okay, because Jaylen Brown does get pushed out of bounds, and then he's looking for a call. He's not going to get one. And Joe Mazzulla is a little confused. And this is where he's going to get the first tech. Yelling, pointing, kind of that douchey maneuver by, what's his name, Tyler Ford, the official. That's what people are always pissed off about with him. And then he's going to get his money's worth. And he goes after Ford and then gets the second technical from the other official, which is kind of getting people in a tizzy that the other official, the crew chief, is the one who said, no, I can't have that. You're going after my guy. I got to tee you up. I got to eject you from this game. And so Jaylen Brown's like, yeah, I'm going to have some more of this, and needs to be restrained by his teammates. I'm thinking, like, are we going to have a brawl here? Are the Boston Celtics, is Jaylen Brown going to fist fight an official? And it almost came to that. It really almost came to that. And you notice there in the score, which, by the way, Jaylen Brown was pushed out of bounds. Like, that was a missed call. It was a totally blown call by this officiating crew, and specifically by our new friend. It's always bad when you know the name of a ref, Tyler Ford, our new friend. So he does get pushed out of bounds, and maybe even almost tripped by Tyler Ford. But then this meltdown ensues, and this was just the beginning of it. I couldn't play the whole thing, but that is just the beginning of it. And what you get, instead of what could have been one of the great nights of the year in the NBA, one of the great games, is you get pictures like this. And you get a star player who's having a great season being held back by his teammates so he doesn't fist fight a referee. And you notice the score in that. The Celtics were up too. It's the second quarter, but they were up. And what was amazing about this game is even after Jaylen Brown went out, they went shot for shot with the Spurs really up until the last 4 minutes of the game, probably. Like, they had a lead at one point in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter. They were going back and forth, up and down the court. It was a great game. And you just wondered, oh, man, what would that have been like if Jaylen Brown was in there? Celtics could well have won that game. Made a big-time statement. I thought they were playing really well. And Wemby got hot from three. So, anyway, that's the unfortunate part of this. And so on the one hand, you've got people arguing about, well, this is the NBA. It's all a star-driven league. We talk all about how, there are too many stars taking nights off for load management and stuff. And it's supposed to be a league run by the stars. And when you put a national television broadcast out there, it's Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum versus Wemby. And then a guy who does play every game gets a double tech on the same play, ejected from the game in the second quarter, and the juice comes out of the game a little bit. From a neutral perspective, it absolutely does. There were definitely people switching over the channel after Jaylen Brown got ejected, thinking, what's that now? And the Celtics are pissed that it was the other official who actually tossed him out of the game, tossed Jaylen Brown out of the game, saying, let the refs fight their own battles. Tyler Ford had given him the tech, but to his defense, he was probably just letting Jaylen Brown empty the tank. Just, all right. Say your shit here. Throw it all out. We'll reassess. If you cross a line, then sure, but let it out. And then another official comes and gives him the second tech and throws him out of the game. That's the one hand. On the other hand, the other argument is Jaylen Brown might have just cost his team a game. Should he have been ejected for that? I don't know. It's one of those where we don't know what he said, right? It's like Tropic Thunder, man. If you said you were going to kill their whole family like Jackie Moon does for the Flint Tropics, then yeah, maybe you should get ejected from the game. But we don't know that. But let's go back to the tape for just a second here. Okay, so we get the initial kind of freak out. Okay, Missoula's not happy. He comes down, he's pointing. That's really close. When you're gesturing like that, you're going to get a tech. Okay, that happens. But what really pisses Jaylen Brown off as we slow-mo, freeze frame, is this reaction from Tyler Ford. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And apparently that's what sets him off. So he gets the first tech there. All right. And this is a known thing, by the way, with this official Tyler Ford, his smugness. Keith Smith tweeted it out. But then when you have to be restrained, you're coming at him a second time after you've already gotten the tech, and then you have to get restrained. That's where I'm like, JB, man, you got to keep your composure. And then he goes for a third time, which you've already been ejected. That could well lead to a suspension. And you've got the defending champs in the next game. Like, that might be your biggest game of the season, considering the opponent. Jaylen Brown might have got himself thrown out of the two biggest games the Celtics have played all season long by going after Tyler Ford a third time after getting ejected. We got to hold our star players to a high standard, man. A, you shouldn't be getting ejected from a game. B, you shouldn't be going back for more after you get ejected, knowing that a suspension could be on the table. And I think that was Reggie Miller who called that out right away. He was like, you got to get him off the court here, or else he's going to potentially ruin your next game, because he's already thrown a big-time wrench in this one. And that would go for not just Jaylen Brown. That would go for Jason Tatum. That would go for Victor Wembanyama. That would go for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Something was up with this. Something boiled over. And I don't know if it's just this official who's had problems with plenty of other guys. He threw out Pop a couple years ago, Greg Popovich, and he lost his mind on him. This reminded me actually a lot of Kyle Schwarber just blowing a gasket against Angel Hernandez a couple years ago. Remember that? Had just had enough of it. It just went absolutely nuclear and didn't care that he was going to get thrown out of the game. That's what this reminded me of. But look, I don't know if it's this BS legacy talk that sports media has to talk about when Jason Tatum comes back into the picture, and it's, what's Jaylen Brown's legacy, and what's Jaylen Brown's got to be Robin to the Batman now. Like, I don't know if that might have had something to do with it and boiled over, and he's sick of hearing this crap. And then he's not the star. Tatum is the star, and it's evidenced by the fact that he doesn't not only get a star call, but he doesn't get a regular whistle. I mean, he was pushed out of bounds. Like, you should be mad at that. But to the original point, to get thrown out of the game in a game of that magnitude doesn't sit well. You're supposed to be a leader on this team. You can't let that get the best of you. Can't let it happen. That's the standard we hold every star player to, including Bam Adebayo. I'm not going to lie. We'll keep it on this because they did the live look-in for Bam's record-breaking night, which, again, was not a record-breaking night if we're supposed to go by the NBA record books. He scored the most points we've ever seen. Goes back to an early Cam Show investigation that we cannot definitively say that Wilt scored 100 points. But we did see Bam Adebayo score 83 points. And they do the live look-in, and I'm into it. Like, I'm like, okay, I don't like Bam. I don't like the Heat, but this is crazy. This is crazy that this is happening. And he gets to 82, and then 83. And I'm like, wow, what a freaking moment. How cool was that? I'm glad we got a live look-in, or else we wouldn't have been able to see it. I was sitting here watching NBA TV, watching the hosts, these awful hosts, just watch it on a TV, and then NBC does the look-in. It was great. And then I saw the line, the score line for Bam Adebayo. And you see that he goes 36 of 43 from the free throw line. 43 free throws. Look, 83 points is 83 points. But we are talking about a dude who shot 43 free throws and shot less than 50% from the floor. Okay? He made 20 shots that were even somewhat contested. You know? That's tough for me, man. God, I love seeing the Bam Adebayo game log, though. And honestly, if you had asked me leading up to this game or this night, like, what is the wildest thing that's going to happen in sports today? I would have given you 50 billion things before I would have given you Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points. 20 of 43 from the floor, 7 of 22 from 3, and 43 free throws. Oh my God, man. My dude scored 83 points by taking 86 total shots. I mean, it's just nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So is it phony? I mean, look, 83 is 83, but it feels a little weird. It feels a little weird. And it is kind of the ultimate Adam Silver game, is it not? Where someone scores 83 by getting them through 43 free throws. Like, SGA might have had a better game the night before when he was 35 and 15 and 67% from the floor and no turnovers, right? But Now this is what you get. Well, craziest stat, though. This is from Steve Ashburner. This is the craziest stat. In 64 years, no two teammates ever totaled 100 points if Wilt wasn't one of them. So not Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, not Jordan and Pippen, not Shaq and Kobe, not Bird McHale, none of them. But when it finally did happen, it was Adebayo and Fontecchio combining for 100. And Eddie Radosevich from Oklahoma had a great tweet. If SGA shot 43 free throws in a game, Oklahoma City residents would be forced back into our storm shelters. There'd be attacks, some possibly violent. I mean, just nuts. You could have given me 100 guesses for an NBA player to score 83 points last night, and I don't know that I would have picked Bam Adebayo. I would have been saying like Peyton Pritchard before that. But here we are. I don't know. Let me know what you think about the Jaylen Brown thing, though. To me, we got to hold our stars to a high standard. You can't get thrown out of a game like that. You just can't. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It's right here on the Wicked Boston Show. When we come back, man, the NFL has turned into a frenzy this week. We're going to have our Patriots expert, Mike DeBate of Sports Illustrated, joining us after the other side of this short break. We're going to talk about Romeo Doubs, now a Patriot. What does he bring to the table? Overpay? ? Is Maxx Crosby now on the table with this reneged deal? And AJ Brown trade, is it more alive than ever? And would that be the perfect offseason for the Patriots? A lot of questions coming up next on the Wicked Boston Show.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Now back to the show, the Wicked Boston Show, here on 365 Sports. I talked about it yesterday. Low-key, kind of a wacky day in the sports world, to the point where I didn't know if I could fit it all in the hour-long show, and I don't think I'm going to be able to. I don't know if we'll get Bruins talk today. I do need to talk about Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, of course. I mean, our great sponsors over there, but also just a great place to go. Man, a great place to go, even if they're not sponsoring my show. It's right in Charlestown, right over the Bill Russell Bridge from the TD Garden. So you're going to a Bruins game, going to a Celtics game, concert. You need a pregame place. You can park right over there. It's really cheap. And you go in, 34 draft beers, all kinds of options, great bites to eat too. Of course, we will be back there March the 24th, baby. You see it right there. March the 24th. That's 2 weeks from yesterday, baby. We're under the 2-week countdown. to where we will have right before Bruins Leafs. We're going to do another live show. It was so awesome there last time. I'm looking forward to stepping it up even more this time. Maybe some trivia, some giveaways, some guests. And then I might even go to the Bruins game. I really wanted to go last night. The missus wouldn't go. It was such a nice day. We ended up going on a walk instead. But anyway, let's shift our focus. This week has been about the NFL and the free agents, and now a crazy reverse trade. We need to put it all in perspective. We bring in our Patriots expert from Sports Illustrated, Mike the Bait, joining us. Mike, I mean, thanks for coming on, but first we gotta attack the story that's going on around the league. I mean, last night I must have had 50 tweets in a row on my timeline of people reacting to Maxx Crosby no longer a Baltimore Raven. It was the biggest trade of the NFL offseason. It gets reneged. He fails the physical. Now there's all kinds of things going on with how people are dealing with Baltimore. They signed Trey Hendrickson today. What do you make of this? And what do you make of the league's reaction to this and dealing with the Ravens in the future? Was this a little slimy?
I don't know if it's necessarily a little slimy, but definitely gave me Godfather 3 vibes. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. And that's exactly what I think a lot of teams felt when they saw Maxx Crosby available suddenly on, well, not exactly the open market. He would be a trade target, but I know the Raiders weren't happy about this. And now you have to wonder what this does to the relationship between Crosby and the Raiders. Are they willing to sell low? Is it even possible to come back from irreconcilable differences that had them part ways just a few days ago? From the Ravens standpoint, they had their Sonny Weaver moment. I mean, they're looking at it. I want my picks back, and I want Trey damn Henderson just because I feel like it. So that's what they're going through right now. They're loving this because they're still landing on their feet. But in a lot of ways, I think that it may deter some teams from maybe wanting to deal with Baltimore in the future about pulling out. We saw the effect that it had on Josh McDaniels when he agreed to become head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and then all of a sudden pulled a Shawn Michaels and super kicked his partner through the window and said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to come to Indy. I want to stay in New England. So bottom line, yeah, there could be a ripple effect throughout a lot of things here, but I still look at it as, if you're the Raiders, now you have to fix what a couple of days ago seemed to be a solved problem. They made a lot of moves, brought in a lot of players. Word has it they will honor those commitments, but yeah, this has got to be rubbing them the wrong way. And the rest of the league right now is on notice because if Maxx Crosby becomes available for pennies on the dollar, several teams will dip their toe into that pool, probably including the New England Patriots.
That's exactly what I want to get into. That is exactly it. And by the way, but I had to beforehand. I mean, I have to get into this. The Shawn Michaels reference got a rousing round of applause from my producer, Zach, behind the scenes. And I'm sure from many watching live right now on YouTube. But yeah, let's talk about how this relates to the Patriots, laying out the scenario. Now Maxx Crosby is there with Vegas, I should say, back with Vegas. And everyone knows they want to deal him. They probably do that anyway. The price is not going to be 2 first-round picks anymore, even though I think a lot of the other teams know that he's not going to be ready to go in March or April with the torn meniscus. That's what's kind of bugging me is we kind of knew that it was going to be months and not weeks. So again, how do the Patriots factor into this? That was someone they were interested in. It sounded like certainly somewhere that Maxx Crosby was interested in with that Diana Rossini report the week of the Super Bowl. And now the asking price probably isn't going to be as high, and the Patriots still have a need for a big-time pass rusher.
Absolutely. And look, I think they factor in the same way any of the other teams that are going to be interested are going to factor in, like the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs or anybody keeping an eye on Maxx Crosby. The Dallas Cowboys, I don't care what Jerry Jones says. They're still going to be kicking the tires on him until they realize he's either in another spot or he's wearing cowboy blue. So in my opinion, a lot of what you hear right now, even from the Raiders, is going to be posturing. What it comes down to is what's the value of Maxx Crosby? What are teams still willing to give up for a player of that caliber? Because his abilities and what he's capable of bringing to a team has not changed from this. We heard from his physician. We heard from his agent. All right, I understand agent speak is a little different than what you or I speak, but at the same time, they've assured us that Max is going to come back and he's going to come back as strong as ever. So in that regard, what does this do to his trade value? Does it lower it enough where teams like the Patriots are going to be able to come in, make the deal, and say, all right, yes, this is the guy we want, and we're still going to pay you a relatively fair price considering what you've been through? Or how much does that lower it? How much do teams keep going down? The more the Raiders have to keep him on the roster, the more we're going to see how desperate they truly are to either get rid of him, or if they feel that they can repair this relationship, maybe they go into the season and do that and revisit these talks at the trade deadline once we've seen what Max can do on the field and once we've seen him being healthy and ready to go right off the bat. Because some teams are still going to be a little bit gun shy about that failed physical. So there's a lot right now that's swimming around in the heads of tons of GMs right now. It's an unenviable position. I don't envy it, but from our standpoint, Cam, it's a lot of fun because a lot of speculation still to come about where Maxx Crosby is going to play his football in 2026.
It is a lot of fun. It certainly was a lot of fun when that news broke, for sure. And we're going to talk about receivers in a minute, and that could kind of factor into how you answer this question, I guess, when you look at trade targets. But would that still make sense for the Patriots? Like, do you think there's still enough of a need there that they would use one of their big moves, not 2 first-round picks, but a big move in this offseason to go and get an elite pass rusher like Crosby?
Well, considering how decimated the pass rush is right now, I think New England has to consider that their top priority. They're without Caleb Jason, who left for a 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders. They released Jelani Tavai, who was not a true pass rusher, but a linebacker that knew that defense in and out and did whatever you needed him to do. Same thing with Anthony Jennings, who was released early Wednesday morning as well, or at least reports that he was going to be released. These guys were pros. These guys knew their job, knew their role, and did their job. There's another wrestling reference for you. But bottom line, when you have those 3 type of players that won't be in your pass rush, you have to prioritize a guy that's going to come in and transform this defense, really level it up to where they need to be in terms of intimidation of opposing quarterbacks. They're also missing Kyrie Tonga, and that's, I think, is probably one of the more negative grades or negative reviews that I would give the Patriots so far this offseason. I think that was a huge missed opportunity. But for the pass rush, yeah, and for someone of Crosby's resume and someone of his pedigree and what he's able to do on the football field, you have to think he's worth at least one of the first-round picks. And I still believe that the Raiders will get that. They're not going to budge from that much. I still believe there are teams out there that believe in Crosby enough to surrender that type of capital. So that may be what it takes to get it done. The question is, do the Patriots go with the unknown, or do they target a pass rusher at number 31, their first round pick, and say, you know what, we're going to roll the dice and take our chances in the other situations and see what we can get maybe out on the open market or the trade market to bolster our receiving core, maybe a tight end core, or maybe additional offensive line help. Those are the areas where the Patriots need some help. And I still think they need to either add another safety to this group or make sure that Jalen Hawkins gets put back into the Foxborough fold. That's my look right now at what the New England Patriots need to do.
Yeah, of course. There are those needs. Crosby will dominate the headlines. He definitely will. Yeah. I am interested what you guys watching are thinking. Let us know in the comment section below. Like and subscribe too. That helps us out a lot. Let's shift. Let's talk receiver here. Let's talk about guys the Patriots actually have signed, or one of them. Romeo Doubs comes in from Green Bay, reported 4 years, up to $80 million on that contract. I know it was a bit of a surprise in terms of the money, but it's not our money, so we'll get into that in a second. Guy who's clear number 2 kind of guy and a very good one. Never had 60 catches in a season, nor 800 yards in a season. So what are the Patriots seeing him? What are the Patriots seeing him when they have an off season where they really need a wide receiver to go and commit 4 years to Romeo Doubs?
Yeah, that's a good question, Cam. I think, with a guy like Romeo Doubs, you're not looking at the stats because you know that he wasn't a number 1 in Green Bay. Green Bay's system didn't require a number 1 receiver. You can make the argument that Josh McDaniel's system never really required a number 1 either. He's the type of guy that knows how to spread the ball around, get multiple pass catchers involved, bring in guys that are capable of utilizing both leverage and spacing. And Romeo Doubs does that as well as anyone in the league. I think he was the best in the class, this free agent class, at being able to do it. And really, he's one of the near top guys in the league at being able to make sure that he's making not only compact catches, he's got great hands, short hands, not a lot of drops coming out of this kid. And the other thing that you look at is his versatility. He's able to align on the outside. He can be your top perimeter weapon. That's really where Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers used him to their advantage. But he can also get inside and be more of a power slot. He's got the route running tree to be able to do it. He's a savvy enough route runner, and he's got the ball skills to be able to be someone that can be counted on in numerous areas. So the main thing that I look for with Romeo Doubs, looks for separation at the top of his routes. That's something the Patriots did not get enough of last year. They will this year with Romeo Doubs. I love this move, provided that they're not done yet adding to this receiver room. And I know we're going to get into that in just a second.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are, because that's kind of, you hit it on the head at the beginning and the end of that, which is, he was the number 2. He could be the number 2 again here, and that would be a great spot for the Patriots to be in. I do, before we get to who that number 1 could be, I want to ask about the money, the prices that we've seen on these receivers. Alec Pierce is probably their number 1 target. He goes for a record-breaking contract with the Colts for a wide receiver. Last year they were going to commit $30 million to Chris Godwin. He said no. Like, the wide receiver prices are more exorbitant than we've ever seen, especially in relation to other positions around the field. Sport Track, which is usually pretty good at this, we're predicting Doubs at 4 years for $48 million. And instead it's going to be 4 years and up to 80. So just in general, Mike, what is happening to the wide receiver market around the NFL?
Well, I think you can answer that simply by looking at what receivers are called upon to do in this league. It's a quarterback-driven league. They need weapons with a Z, quote unquote, in order not only to satisfy the fan base on social media, which we all know is really the most important thing that teams are doing to build. You want to satisfy all of those armchair GMs. I kid. I'm only joking. But bottom line, no, what the Patriots and all teams right now are doing is they're looking to keep their quarterbacks happy. They're looking to keep them protected, but they're also looking to give them the guys that are going to be able to deliver the statistics they need to exercise their abilities each and every Sunday. And that's what a guy like Romeo Doubs does. The wide receiver market was not a very robust one when it came to available receivers this year on the open market. So what's that going to do? That's going to drive the price up on guys that normally may not get a 4-year, $80 million contract like Romeo got. I don't begrudge him one bit for getting the money that he got from New England. I don't necessarily begrudge New England for paying it, because they knew they needed someone that was going to be able to come in and help Drake May ascend to that next level. And mark my words, guys, anybody that's listening right now in training camp, you're going to hear an awful lot about the budding chemistry that's developing between Drake May and Romeo Doubs. High character guy, great teammate, someone that loves to be on the receiving end of a quarterback that can throw the deep ball and find him underneath for him to be able to get yards after the catch. To me, that sounds like a marriage made in heaven for those two. So that will be a very good relationship that will continue to build now over the next few years. Depending on who they add to this, it could end up being a pretty potent passing attack for New England for the foreseeable future. And you've got to invest that type of building block in order to get it. Some may call it an overpay. I'd probably call it a little bit of an extra investment in a position that the Patriots know is going to be a key for their offense for many years to come.
It is. And Romeo Doubs, we've said it, he is a fantastic number 2 receiver. If you're asking him to be a number 1, that might be a bit of an ask. So with Romeo Doubs already locked in, we heard the recent report from Burt Breer that there was basically a one-team audience for A.J. Brown, and that was the New England Patriots. So, I mean, dream scenario is you bring in a receiver like Doubs and you add a true number 1 like A.J. Brown. Will the Pats make the blockbuster move to bring A.J. Brown to New England?
I'm about 60-40 that they're going to do it at this point. Look, I look at what the Patriots just did in terms of bringing in Romeo Doubs, giving them a little bit of muscle back at the negotiating table. All of a sudden, they're not coming in hat in hand any longer. They're not the team that just released Stephon Diggs. the team that is struggling to find a perimeter weapon, or at least a primary weapon for Drake May. Someone not only capable of, again, winning his battles in the power slot, but also winning his battles on the outside. They don't have that on this roster right now. Now, with Romeo Doubs signed and official, they will have someone that can help mitigate the Stephon Diggs loss, which means that the Patriots could end up walking away from the table and saying, okay, well, we've got Doubs. We can sign someone like a Juwan Jennings, or we can sign maybe a lesser free agent. And I hate using that term because it really kind of quantifies these guys in terms of a ranking system. I really would rather see what they can do on the field and what type of fit they're going to be within the team. But Jennings is not necessarily viewed on the same plateau as someone like an A.J. Brown. At that point, if they do that, and Brown is really auditioning his audience for only a one-team audience, like you said, then it becomes about the Eagles being able to do something very similar to what the Las Vegas Raiders are doing right now, and that's trying to work out irreconcilable differences with a very high profile, very much of a star player. Is A.J. Brown willing to come back and work in the conditions that he's worked in for the last couple of years with Philadelphia, or has he already checked out of the city of brotherly love in his head? If that's the case, the Philadelphia Eagles almost have to move him at that point. And then if you're the Patriots, you can use that newfound muscle to negotiate a little bit more. What was I saying about Sonny Weaver earlier? We live in a different world than we lived in 30 seconds ago. You're going to hear Elliott Wolf say that an awful lot this offseason, I think, because Patriots got a little bit of mojo back in terms of their leverage, discussing what they can bring to the table and what they can offer to the Eagles for A.J. Brown by bringing in Romeo Doubs. All of these moves fit in together as puzzle pieces. The puzzle isn't complete yet. We'll see how these pieces fit and what it does to the shape of what the New England Patriots 2026 roster is going to look like.
Yeah. And I desperately, I'm glad you said that last part, because I desperately want Mike DeBate's grade on free agency so far. But I know it's incomplete. Like there's so many moves that they can make, in the next couple of days, in a month from now, draft night. Like there's so many things that I think it's not the time to ask the question yet. I will ask you this one last question though. Let's play it out. Romeo Doubs is already here. You go out, you trade for A.J. Brown. Let's say it's not a massive roster player off your roster, but it could be. If those are your top two receivers, how would you classify that as the perfect free agency period? I know you've got other holes, offensive line, pass rush, but would you categorize that as a perfect free agency period in terms of helping Drake May if you could get two receivers of that ilk?
Yeah, I think so, provided Elijah Vera Tucker is able to hold up his end of the bargain and be the left guard that the Patriots are hoping that he's going to be. If you got Tucker in the fold and he's healthy and locked in, and you can bring in those two receivers to help Drake May, yeah, that's about as perfect of an offseason as you can get from a helping Drake May standpoint. You're bringing in a true bona fide number one, someone who is an unquestioned weapon that'll give you the ability to take two or three defenders away at one point because of the triple teams and the double teams that they always command every time the ball is snapped. But you got a guy like Romeo Doubs, who I said once again can win in pretty much any alignment and do anything that he needs to do by using his leverage ability, by using his ability to run routes and getting separation at the top of his routes. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that Patriots fans could find fault with when it comes to that. Now, again, you mentioned other holes that needed to be filled, and I'm still a defensive guy at heart, and that edge rush is still bothering me, and I still want to see the Patriots shore up the secondary a little bit. But bottom line, yeah, I mean, if you're talking purely from helping Drake May, that would be the ultimate haul for the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I'm with you on the defensive line too, and the pass rush. I looked at, looking back at the Super Bowl, obviously huge holes offensive line. That was the most glaring. But you think of how many times they got in Sam Darnold's face and didn't bring him down. That also could have changed the game quite a bit. So obviously looking at that as well. But Mike DeBate, I mean, the best that we got here. Patriots on SI. He's covering it all. But Mike, we always appreciate the time, the references, and most importantly, the insight. So Mike, always appreciate it. Got to do it again soon.
Absolutely. Always here for you whenever. It's always my honor to come on, Cam. You do a great job. It's a great show. And I look forward to talking draft and aftermath free agency and heading into the 2026 season soon. There's no off season in the NFL.
No.
We get a couple of weeks to catch our breath, and that's it.
No. Yeah. And next time will be after the AJ Brown trade. How about that?
Absolutely.
Or when it's right on death's door. Mike Debate,
Okay.
Patriots on SI. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, my friend. You too.
A tip of the cap to Mike Debate. I mean, the best in the biz, man. Let us know what you guys think, though, about this whole Maxx Crosby situation, Romeo Doubs, what you expect from him, and if that AJ Brown trade is very much back on the table and what it would mean for the Patriots. Let us know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It's right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart on 365 Sports. After all this craziness, I don't know that I've gotten to the craziest sports story of the night. I really don't think I have yet. Bam Adebayo, a nice player, goes for 83 points, right? Jaylen Brown has a complete meltdown, is ejected from the biggest game of the year so far for the Celtics. And the biggest trade of the NFL offseason has been reversed. Snip, snap, snip, snap. And how have I not gotten to the craziest thing yet? That's because it happened while we were sleeping in a tournament that still a lot of people aren't watching. But the USA might not make the knockout stages from the World Baseball Classic because of an all-time mistake by their manager. We'll tell you what that is next on the Wicked Boston Show.
Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmorebar.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart on 365 Sports. Your host, Cam Stuart here. Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air and keeping me sane every weekday on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show. So, guys, if you're new here, like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Like if you're sick, if you're like done with Boston Sports Talk Radio and just the BS that goes into it every day, like if that exhausts you, You're amongst friends. Come here. I'll give you a hug. I'm exhausted too. So we want to talk about the things that matter sometimes. But I'll say it again, man. There was so many crazy things we could talk about going into today. And last night is one of the craziest sports nights in a while. I can't tell you the last time, but like it's been a while since we had something like that. Bam Adebayo, of all people, has the second most points ever scored in an NBA game, the most ever on camera. Like that doesn't compute. Maxx Crosby being sent back to the Raiders and the first round picks back to Baltimore. That doesn't compute. But this baseball story is as crazy as anything that has happened last night, and maybe as crazy as anything that happened at the MLB season last year, which was full of crazy stuff. I mean, I couldn't believe this, and I still can't believe that we're in this scenario. Okay? I had this segment planned. This was supposed to be about how the Red Sox players have dominated the World Baseball Classic. But this tournament just got turned on its head in the craziest way possible. Team USA won their first 3 games of the World Baseball Classic, and they're now somehow on the brink of elimination. Like they are in danger of not even making it out of the group stage. And it's all Mark DeRosa's fault. Amazingly, it is all Mark DeRosa's fault. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm still like fairly new to the World Baseball Classic. Okay? It's not something that I have considered appointment television the last few times. I've kind of kept an eye on it, seen what the USA did. I remember last time, it was Ohtani striking out Trout to end the game in the championship, and that was like a really cool moment. But overall, much like the rest of the United States, I don't get way into this the way that some of these other countries do. And unlike hockey and soccer and stuff like that, there's no real tradition of best on best baseball. And while a lot of other countries like this, the USA never really sent their best players. Until now. Like, this is what's getting me hooked. This is a dream team. Aaron Judge, Paul Skeens, Bryce Harper, Cal Raleigh, Roman Anthony, Garrett Whitlock, for Christ's sake. This is a legitimate all-star fantasy baseball video game kind of lineup. And then you add in, the recent success of USA hockey at the Olympics, something that just got everyone's attention. And now you've got something that baseball never has in March, and that's some attention. We got March Madness next week, NFL free agency in full swing, and yet people are tuning into this. People are in to the World Baseball Classic. And so far, so good. They win their first 3 games. They knock off Mexico. Good game, great crowd. And everyone is already thinking about the knockout rounds. Everyone, including the manager. But here's the thing. The manager might have knocked them out of the tournament all by himself. Here's what Mark DeRosa said when he went on MLB Network before the matchup against Italy and said how he was going to handle the game.
I'm going to look at it. I'm going to get some guys off their feet, no question about it. I'd like to get Goldie a start, and he has been awesome, just a leader of men behind the scenes with Aaron Judge. I'd like to get him in there. I'd like to get Gunnar in there again. Ton of respect for Italy. It's weird. We want to win. We want to win this game, even though our ticket's punched to the quarterfinals. Because
see, here's the thing, Mark DeRosa. Here's the thing about that. You had not punched your ticket to the quarterfinals. And it seems like he had no idea. Actually, it's not seems like, he just told you. He had no idea. And I don't know that anybody had any idea until about the 8th inning of last night's game against Italy. You have a manager who has literally told his buddies at MLB Network that he's going to get some reserves in there, some bench players in there, because they're already good. They punched their ticket. They're in. So Paul Goldschmidt, you're in the game, not Bryce Harper. Ernie Clement, you're in the game, not Bryce Terang. Will Smith, you're in the game, not 60 home run hitter Cal Raleigh. And now you went out and you lost the game, which was embarrassing enough. You shouldn't be losing to Italy, even though the whole team's American and their manager's Venezuelan. Like, you shouldn't be losing that game in a best-on-best competition. The United States should not be losing to Italy. But now you've got yourself in all kinds of a mess because Goldschmidt, you had to pinch hit for him. Clement, you had to pinch hit for him. And Will Smith had a good enough night that you didn't need to hit Cal Raleigh, I guess. But you had a lackadaisical dugout. You had guys that weren't on the top railing like they usually are. There wasn't a lot of intensity behind this game because the manager thought they were already done, that they had punched their ticket. And so after the game, they have to hold his feet to the fire. And here's what he has to say.
Yeah, I misspoke. I was on hot stove with a couple buddies today and completely misread the calculations. We knew that Mexico was going to play Italy and then running all the numbers with if we lost tonight with the runs allowed and runs scored and outs. So I just misspoke.
Oh, man. Just misspoke. Just miscalculated. Mark DeRosa seems like a really good guy, a really fun guy. But Mark DeRosa fucked this whole thing up. Like, royally. And, you know, I know he managed them at the last World Baseball Classic, but maybe this is what you get when you put in an MLB Network studio analyst who has lineup cards in front of him while he's watching a game and on his couch. That's what you get when you put an MLB Network studio analyst as your team's manager. That's what you get. This system is kind of stupid, by the way, how they do the tiebreakers and all that. Like, I get that. If you win 3 out of 4 games, you should probably be in the knockout rounds. But that's not how it is. And we, as the viewers, don't need to know that, or the fans. But the manager kind of needs to know that. And that's nuts that he doesn't. And now he might have just got his team knocked out and they hadn't even lost yet. That's the craziest part of all of this, because one of the other things, you're basically starting a prospect on the bump in McLean, and the first tiebreaker is not run differential. It's runs allowed, and you just gave up 8 to Italy. So now here's what needs to happen, because Italy plays Mexico tonight. It's gotten moved from Tubi. It was going to be on frickin' Tubi to FS1. And here's the scenario. Here's what needs to happen for the U.S. to advance, okay? Because first off, the easiest thing to root for is just an Italy win. Italy win, no matter the score, they in the United States advance. But here's the thing. If Mexico wins, you see it on that third line there. If Mexico wins and scores less than 4 runs, so if they win a game 3-1, 3-2, 2-0, then the U.S. is out entirely. The craziest one is that second one. If Mexico wins and they score 5+ runs, that gets them to advance. But I think also if they win, but they win 8-7 and they give up 7 runs, then it's Italy and the U.S. So now we got a scoreboard watch because the manager thought it was over. The manager thought they had advanced. I mean, this is crazy stuff. And I know it's not the World Series, but this could be one of the biggest mess ups in the history of baseball if they don't advance because the manager thought their ticket was punched. How does nobody get in his ear? Between that and the start of the friggin' game, between that MLB Network hit and when he has to put out the lineup card, how does nobody get in his ear and say, hey, Mark, actually, we haven't punched our ticket yet. If we win this game, we're definitely in. And if we lose, we probably shouldn't give up a bunch of runs because remember, the first tiebreaker is runs allowed. But nobody got in his ear. Nobody told him that. And now we've got a scoreboard watch this thing. And I know that the U.S. doesn't get up for this tournament like some of these other countries do. But this would be a catastrophic failure, not just for the U.S. team, but for the entire tournament if this dream team, U.S. team, does not get into the knockout rounds. You know, if they laid an egg, an absolute stinker, and they went 1-3, then so be it. But if they go 3-1 and miss out because their manager thought they had already punched the ticket, that is disaster zone for Team USA, but obviously more importantly for this entire tournament. We're already seeing in hockey, the Olympics allowing their pros back in, and it's great for the sport and for the tournament. I think baseball should do the same thing. They never will because it's in the middle of a season and they don't have the balls to do it. But you've already gotten that criticism from Bryce Harper. And now if you miss out on this because of this technicality, ooh, it's bad. Ooh, it's really bad. And really bad for the people that don't like guys pimping home runs. Because the U.S. won't be left. And everyone else pimps home runs. Which, by the way, I guess I'm an old man. I guess. I don't mind guys celebrating their home runs. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not the unwritten rule guy. Pimp it, man. Do a bat flip. Go nuts. Except don't go too nuts. Because now I'm seeing guys from the Dominican Republic, I think was the one I saw the other day, in Puerto Rico. And I get it, man. They celebrate the game differently than us. I get it. That's why I'm peeved, though. Like, that's because I'm one of us, right? Like, I see a guy who runs the last 3 bases of a home run without his helmet on. And I'm like, yeah, that to me, that's not really baseball, but I'm old or something. Or God forbid, people will probably just call me racist, but I don't care. Like if a Canadian does it, I'm still thinking it's a little weird. I'm still thinking it's a tad weird that they're doing that, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, I'm an old man. I think it's what it is. But now we got to watch and wait. This could be one of the biggest mistakes in the history of organized baseball. It's too bad. I was really coming around to this, and I thought this would have been good for baseball. But yeah, if the U.S. isn't in the knockouts, I'm probably not watching. Even if they don't win, I probably won't be watching. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're coming at you every weekday on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. So thankful for the folks at 365 Sports and Rogue Media for getting this show together and getting it on the air every day. Thankful to Zach Burke for keeping us on the air. Thankful to Mike Debate for joining. And thankful to you guys for tuning in. You're what keeps it going. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. We will see you on Friday for the next live edition of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart.
Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmorebar.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit opengoaalusa.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.